No matter your age, if something comes to your mind and you want to do it, right? And you're thinking, should I try this out? I don't know if I should. You're not going to know unless you try. I always try to tell people, keep going until you can't go anymore. And then when you keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, stop, take a little mental break, look in the mirror, say, why am I really doing this? And then keep pushing again. Because I think even in my short 9 years, I haven't worked a day in my life. I love my job, I love my career, I love my family, I love my work family. And it's something that you shouldn't shy away from.
I think to be a good firefighter, you need to be dedicated.
Somebody that's driven, that's honest.
We're looking for people that are strong. We're looking for people that can learn.
Definitely need to have both physical and mental stamina.
Hard work, attitude, effort.
Being a team player, being collaborative in your thought process.
It's a job that you really kind of have to go with the flow. At times you have to be very flexible.
Professionalism is huge.
One has to obviously have some sort of compassion.
People who are very service-oriented. They want to be community servants. They want to make a difference.
90% of what we do is going out and dealing with the public on their worst day.
So I always come to every single call and arrive with a bright smile on my face, looking to assist in whatever way I can.
Why is this the greatest job in the world? Well, because you're not in an office every day.
You're walking into the same place, but you're walking into different situations every day.
Today's fire service is all risk mitigation.
Most of our calls are medical related.
As the first arriving crew, we're like bringing the emergency room to the patient.
We do respond to fires of all different types, from rubbish fires to vegetation fires, vehicle fires, structure fires.
There's also water rescue, hazmat events that could take place.
And then there's other calls like vehicle rescues, cliff rescues, trench rescues.
If it's not law enforcement related, oftentimes we're the ones who are called to handle.
When we come on duty, we do a shift change, and the off-going crew pretty much just gives us a run-over of what they did during their time on duty, what calls they went on, stuff we may need to check over in the rig.
As the day begins after the meeting, we do our cleaning and maintenance of the apparatus and the firehouse.
We need to take care of our station, because if you have a nice station to live at, you're going to be a happy crew.
We need to sweep and clean bathrooms and kitchens.
Making sure that whatever we're doing in the station, we can drop it and be on that rig and ready to respond within a moment's notice.
We have a meeting every morning. It's called Lineup. I go over all the daily new staffing material that's required of them, and so that they have a plan, organization to their day.
Which includes training, could include some fire inspections or prevention.
We also provide our own meals, so members in the fire station are required to cook quite often.
We figure out who's cooking, and then we'll go shopping.
Some person will come up with a plan and everybody else will pitch in and help cook. We try to have some camaraderie too. That means that during lunch we play a game of cards while we're eating or something like that. We try to have fun, but it always comes after everything else.
Staying fit is part of a lifestyle for this job.
I've thrown my pile of gear that I wear without any specialty tools on a scale, and it came out to 70 pounds.
Every fire station has a gym in it.
We follow a physical fitness program that everyone should participate in.
I keep myself physically fit, and I expect the same from my firefighters. They all, every day, they work out, and I think overall it helps us perform the job safely and efficiently.
In addition to that, while we're here, we try to take care of each other, right? So hydration, nourishment, and also rest is very important.
There's a lot of sleepless nights. Usually we're up running nonstop, so we all sleep when we can.
We are paid, and it is our job to be ready at a moment's notice. And the only way you do that is to train.
come to the fire station and we train every single day, sometimes 2, 3, 4 hours a day on any aspect you can imagine.
You never stop training, you never stop learning. There's an evolution when it comes to all the knowledge, equipment, technology. We have to stay up on top of it.
Reading the new material that's coming out, the new science that's going on with firefighting and flashovers and down to even medical stuff.
Certainly in the post 9/11 era, it's important that we're trained and adequately prepared to address hazards that are often not seen before.
As a group or a team, we get together and we train so that each person rises up to a level where we can be confident in all of our skills and abilities and perform efficiently.
The fire service being a paramilitary organization, meaning a rank system that involves you coming in at an entry level and having superiors that will guide you through the process of being and becoming a better firefighter.
You don't go all the way to the top if you got a problem. You work through your chain of command from your immediate supervisor on up.
You come in as a firefighter, EMT, or paramedic, and you can move up into the ranks through engineer, where you're operating the apparatus, pumping water at a scene. You can become captain and you can supervise a crew. Then you move into the management ranks, battalion chief, assistant chief, deputy chief. But what's nice about the fire service is the diversity in your aspirations to do different things.
You have the variety. There's always a different challenge you can have, so you can go up and you can go out. You can go either way.
The fire service is a family, and it's an amazing family.
We train together, we live together, we work together, and our families grow up together.
It's like I have two lives. I have the life when I'm at the fire station and the life I have at home. So you have two families, basically.
Working with people that, you know, are ultimately your best friends.
Especially in the hard times, we really support each other, and it's great.
There's always some kind of bond that comes out of every call. Some calls make you laugh, some make you cry together, but it's that whole team atmosphere that I love.
The fire service has been really the most rewarding career choice I could have made, because you get to see the difference you make.
You're helping people that, you know, it's the worst thing that can possibly be happening to them, and you're there to mitigate that.
You know, we see a lot of bad things. I always try to stay positive. The best thing you can do is just come on scene, do the best job you can every single time.
Obviously not every day do we get to save somebody's lives, but over my career there have been those days and there's nothing better than that.
We're doing a job, yet it doesn't seem like a job.
We're going to buildings that are on fire and working so hard, but it's so rewarding. It's the best job.
Have a nice resume put together. Do it, professionally. Have somebody look at it, proofread it. When you come in for, the interview, dress nice, wear a suit, look professional. Show that you're motivated. Come visit us. Come visit our firehouses. Okay, that has always been a thing that we valued, is for candidates to come and actually visit the firehouses, meet the people that work here, and tell us about your experience.
Off of that is the other preparation is, don't get into any trouble. Like, that's really big. Do not get into any trouble because, background checks, making sure you have that clean record, because that's big. So don't get into no trouble.
The best advice I can give, if you're going to be interviewing for San Diego Fire, seek help from San Diego firefighters, because our interview process is very different. And if you don't seek help, the odds of passing an interview are very, very tough. Fire interviews are very challenging. For example, they may say, hey, tell me about yourself. Well, that's an education, training, experience question. So if you start answering the question by telling them about yourself, that's very difficult to score against the next Coupled with that interview preparation, is just make yourself as valuable as possible. You're gonna have the minimum requirements, right? But you wanna try to grasp as many other things that will make you valuable also. And some things to talk about that's gonna set you apart in that interview process. For example, professional athlete is gonna set her apart because she can talk about all the experiences and how they relate to the fire service. Just things like that will make you a valuable candidate.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I know that sounds a little scary, but the one thing I've realized in becoming a firefighter at the recruit level, and even when you get up to the chief level, is that you need to start putting yourself in situations that you might not be used to. And if that's going and knocking on the door of a fire station to talk to somebody, if that's sending an email to the ACFD recruitment, if that is going to a Cal-JAC event, you really need to start getting yourself uncomfortable, because the more times that you do things like this, you will get more comfortable.
Hello, hello. Hi everyone and welcome to Recruitment in the Spotlight. Today we're here with none other than the Mountain View Fire Department. Hello, all right, well thank you for joining us today. So my name is Lasana Pakeman, she, her pronouns. I get to be your host today. I also get to be the recruitment manager for Cal-JAC. And so I'd like you to know that if you've been here before, you already know exactly what to expect. But if you're new here, we have so much in store for you. So make sure you stick around. We have a very special announcement for all of you at the very end. And so if you're not already, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications for future episodes. We post tons of content, videos around the CPAT, FCTC written testing, and departments that are hiring, and so much more. So joining us today, we also have the expert himself, the FCTC Program Director, Mitch Deanda. Hey, Mitch.
Morning, Lasana. Hey, everyone. Welcome, and I'll be here to help get your questions. I'll be here to help get your questions answered by our panel of experts. So keep the questions coming. We really want to engage with you and get those questions answered. Also, as Lasana said, please like and subscribe down below. It really helps out the channel and helps us to get this information out to other candidates that are trying to become a firefighter.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, with that, let's get into it, right? Okay. So I'd like to start out with some brief introductions, and if each of you could just go through, maybe say your name, your rank, and how long you've been a firefighter. And I feel like we can start out with you.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. David Menza, engineer paramedic with the City of Mountain View for 12 years.
I'm Shannon, firefighter paramedic. I finished probation in 5 days with the Mountain View Fire Department, and I've been a firefighter for about 6 years now.
All right, congratulations on making it
Thank
thus
you.
far.
Yeah.
You're very welcome.
Yes, very excited.
I'm Dana Hill, and I've been in the fire service since 2010. I drive engine 52, and happy to be at Mountain View.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Melton Wong, battalion chief on A shift, and 20 years tomorrow in the City of Mountain View.
Congratulations to you too.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, so with that, I thought we could start out and dig a little more into each of your stories. And so Shannon, we'll go ahead and start off with you. But tell us about, every journey into the fire service is different. It's all unique. Talk about your career path and just how it evolved and how you ended up in the fire service.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually didn't know I wanted to be a firefighter growing up. I always wanted to be in the military. So my whole life growing up was geared towards entering into military service. I did the Sea Cadets as a kid and then went to college through the ROTC program. And I was actually in officer candidate school with the Marine Corps. And I ended up getting hurt, and then I was unfortunately medically disqualified from being in the military. So after that, I didn't really know what to do. It was a pretty low point in my life. My whole goal and dream in life was to be in the military, and when that ended, finding something new was really hard and kind of seemed like an impossible task. I was fortunate enough that my neighbor was actually a Stockton firefighter, and he offered for me to come out and do a ride-along with their department and just get a feel to see if that was something that would interest me. And thank God that I did, because this is the best job in the world, and I have great coworkers who are friends and a great family, and it's an amazing job. And super similar to the military, which was kind of what I was lacking in any other career I was looking at. So yeah, that's how I got into the fire service.
And how about that transition? I know that you mentioned it was a low point. It was difficult making the transition. Maybe if you could talk about just going from having this thing that you thought would always happen and then having to pivot.
Yeah, it was honestly like a confusing point of my life because I didn't know what else to do, and there's not, like a map of this is exactly how to do it. And I tested a lot of different careers. I was a teacher. I coached like CrossFit or different sports, and nothing really fit. So I think that feeling of being lost was really hard. So having something to refocus my direction was game-changing for me.
And now you're here.
Yeah, now I'm here.
There we go.
exciting,
And so, Dana, how about you? What inspired you to become a firefighter? And then how did you end up working for Mountain View?
Well, I was very fortunate. Me and my brother are very close. I was working for a gym at the time in Mountain View, and I was coaching gymnastics and cheer and dance. And I called up my brother one day, and I let him know that I wasn't happy where I was at, and he said I should apply for firefighting. And at the time, he was working for Cal Fire, and so I applied, and I was very lucky. I got 2 job offers. I got to work in his same battalion, and my first day, I got an 80-acre fire, and I was just done. I was so into this career. It's challenging mentally, physically, and I was just in it. So went from Cal Fire, then got hired with San Francisco, and then came to Mountain View. And I've been here ever since.
Okay, beautiful. All right, Chief Wong, how about you? Is that okay if I call
please.
you? Okay.
Yeah. Growing up in a first-generation family, my parents immigrated from China, and they opened a restaurant in Sonoma. And at 9 years old, I started working in a restaurant. Not the best student. My brothers and sisters were straight-A students. I wasn't the best student, so my future path was to own the restaurant. And I was like, I don't want to do that. My parents stressed education so much that they sent 3 kids to college. I went to UCSB, go Gauchos. And after college, I still had no clue what to do. So worked a suit and tie job, delivering faxes in a high-rise building. And I was dying. I was not living my life. So I decided to pick up my stuff and really dive into the profession of firefighting. So took EMT class and then my fire academy, and then it was just shot up from there. It took me 5 years to get a full-time job, but I learned something about myself throughout the journey. And then I ended up Mountain View.
And how'd your family react when you told that this was?
So coming from a very traditional family, Asian family, you know, you're supposed to be either a doctor, a lawyer, or something very successful that way. Not knowing that being a firefighter was a very successful career. So when I told my parents I want to be a firefighter, they weren't too happy. Going, why are you going to lay your life on for somebody that you don't know? I was like, that's what my calling is. And so they gave me a little swift pat on the back, going like, what are you doing? But as soon as they saw my passion for it, they didn't even look back.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes.
Incredible.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And so, David, how about you? Can you tell us about your path into the fire service and then the steps that prepared you to be here?
So I had a pretty good idea that I wanted to be a firefighter. Senior year in high school, I found out that I was a 4th-generation firefighter in my family from Honolulu Fire Department. So I was just gonna.
From Honolulu?
Yeah, Honolulu Fire Department. So I wanted to continue the tradition. So I decided that was what I wanted to do. I started from senior year. And I think I took the longer route. I would say 15, 10, 20 years ago, it was a little harder to get on, or challenging to get on the job. I'm sure all the viewers out there know that we had to wait in line to even get an application, where everything's streamlined online now. But I was sticking strong to it. I actually went through 2 academies, got my EMT certification, and where I got the bug, what Dana was talking about, was my 1-year internship with a neighboring department up north. I was the 4th person on an engine. I was given the same roles and responsibilities as a firefighter. Cleaning the house, getting up early, making my bed, cooking food, not only responding to calls, but giving advanced life support or care to the citizens up north where I was serving. After I was done as an intern, what's next? I'm a person that doesn't like to sit down. I needed to figure out what I needed to do next. So I was a reserve firefighter for X amount of years. I went into paramedic school. So when I went to paramedic school, I wanted to see different aspects of patient care. So I wanted the acute care, I wanted pre-hospital care, and I wanted in the hospital. So that's the patient care is what drew me more into the fire service. I already had a passion for the fire service, but having that, a lot of people know who I am. I'm an advocate of taking care of everyone's my family member, essentially. So I think that's a lot of our calls in the fire service is EMS. So besides fire, EMS, hazmat, that is what our bread and butter. And then I was lucky enough to get the phone call from Mountain View years later after many interviews. I can tell you my worst interview, I can tell you my best interview. And they're probably watching too, they're probably laughing at it right now. But I would say that, yeah, I would say that if anything, if you're deciding to go in the fire service, is to, when you go to your first interview, go to another one, and that's gonna make you better.
And so early on in your career, you actually have a mentor that's on the panel. How did that work out? What is that about?
So when I got the phone call that I was going to be, join the City of Mountain View family, I ran into, well, at the time it was Firefighter Milton Wong at the time in the hallway at the city. Well, it was an admin, and I was in a suit and tie, and he just stopped me in the hallway, and he was like, "Hey, what are you here for?" I'm like, "For you guys." So he gave me his contact number. I called him like every day. I called him every single day.
How do I get hired? What am I doing?
What is next? What do I need to do? And then once I got the job, I stopped calling him.
Yeah. It's like, I'm done.
I'm done.
I got my job.
I got my job. But Chief Wong Milton has been an extreme help with not just me, with other firefighters coming through department. Been a mentor, brother, big brother for all of us. And I'm lucky enough he's my battalion on my shift.
Shout out to good mentors. There we go. All right. Shout out to neighbors. Shout out to family. Shout out to all the people that land us here in this amazing position, right? Yeah. Beautiful. And also, pro tip, keep in touch with your mentor after you land the position.
Yeah. He'll probably like you more.
I call him now.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Beautiful. Well, I know that our team has put together an incredible video. And so before we go into the video, for those of you watching, we want you to engage with the video, submit questions that you have in the chat, but go ahead and take a look at the recruitment video put together for Mountain View Fire Department.
Any day in the fire service is probably a pretty good day.
I love every aspect of this job. I wake up in the morning and I look forward to coming to work.
There's always something to do. There's never a dull moment.
It's not sitting in an office in a real sterile environment.
It's definitely hard work, but it's so worth it.
Working here in Mountain View, you feel like you have the best job in the world and the best place in the world.
Being home to some of the biggest companies in the world, we've still got that small town feel. The citizens know us and we know the citizens.
Mountain View Fire is an all-risk fire department. The city's 12 square miles, but it's very diverse in terms of all the things that you expect in a big city. We have them here.
All-risk specifically means fire, EMS, hazmat, heavy rescue, trench rescue, confined space rescue.
We have opportunities to work with Task Force 3, which is a FEMA task force team. We will get deployed on wildfires throughout the summer.
Working for Mountain View Fire and the fire department in general, we work a very unique schedule where we're here for 48 hours straight.
Some people call it a fire station, but it's a firehouse because we spend so much time together here.
In the mornings, you check your rigs, you check your equipment, make sure everything is up to par.
Make sure that I'm cleaning the station, that we're cleaning our apparatus.
Part of our job involves being in shape, so you are allowed time during the day to work out. Because it is a family feel, we do cook together. It's one of the things that we look forward to. It's a good part of the day.
When there's downtime and you're not running calls, we study, train.
The Mountain View Fire Department is a leader when it comes to training.
We want to train and train and train and train, so at 2 in the morning, if something were to happen, we're not thinking our way through it, but we know what every person does.
This is definitely a team sport. When we go on these fire engines, we are not by ourselves. We're always going to have at least 3 people.
And I have to do my job right in order for them to do their job right.
Orders will need to be given, decisions will need to be made, and people will need to follow those orders without questioning it in order for the group to be successful, and also in order for the group to be safe.
Mountain View is a very progressive organization, and it's because the members of the department want to be progressive.
We really value people's ability to speak other languages, to interact with different people in the public, or to use their skill sets to help kind of make us better.
When people see me out there in the Latin community, it's like they open up to me. It's very important for the department to have diverse and different cultures.
It's a great place to work because that diversity helps us all have more perspective and help serve the community.
What we're looking for in the city of Mountain View is really great people.
Because compassion is what we do. We go out in the public and we're out there to serve, and we're actually out there to care.
We will train you to be a successful firefighter, but it has to come from within.
You got to come into the fire service with a great attitude, with an open mind, and you have to be willing to do the hard work.
Someone that gets along well with others. Someone that is willing to come in every day and just put the little extra effort to make the department better.
Once you get in the door, you really can find what it is that you're passionate about, and you can pursue that here with a lot of support from the department, the city, and from the union.
Well, shout out to Firestar for putting that together.
Thank you, Firestar. Thank you. That's a great video. I'm applying for Mountain View now.
Oh man!
Yeah.
And shout out to the superstars that are here that were in the video.
Thank you.
The star.
Oh man. So we just learned several of the services offered at Mountain View. Can you elaborate on opportunities, specialties that are available at Mountain View?
Oh my gosh. There's so many in Mountain View. Just like a lot of like other fire departments, we are all risk fire department. So, confined space, technical rescue, tactical medics. We have a canine program. As well as drone program. We have a new equipment for EV cars to put out extinguishing EV car batteries that are impinged in fire. So a lot of new things, and we're trying to keep up with the technology, with the newest trends. One of the things is we have to stay on top of what's coming down, active shooter and everything that's come around of WMD as well. So we're all encompassing of everything that we need to be specialized in. So that's why it's hard to be a firefighter, because you have to know everything about everything. But aside from that, a lot of the programs that we have to help us as Task Force 3 as well that we have.
I think those are the things that drew me to Mountain View the most, was how many things they offered to you as a firefighter. So if you had your heart on something like TEMS or single resource, you wanted to be flying helicopters or landing helicopters, on a wildland incident, you could do that. Mountain View gave you the avenues. We give you the freedom to make a program like TEMS and run with it, and then others can join you and be out there with something you're passionate about in the fire service, because we are all risk.
Can you clarify what's TEMS?
TEMS.
Tactical
Yeah.
EMS.
Tactical EMS.
Oh, okay.
So we have members that work collaboratively with Mountain View PD, with the SWAT team. So we have set members that have to go to training throughout the year. They are side by side with the SWAT officers. They go on search warrants. They do a number of other things on top of, just as an example, to kind of tag on what they're saying about the passion for a program. As a department, we have the opportunity to have, if you have a passion for something, it's like a single resource or a wildland, like what they were saying, we have the opportunity to provide that. So
one thing about the TEMS program is that, we get along with our fire department or police department like a lot, but having that TEMS program really brought us close together. So I think it's a win-win for both of us. One of the other programs that I'd like to talk about is that Mountain View stresses education. So in the city of Mountain View, we're allotted a certain amount of money per year for our further education, but they also stress the education of your bachelor's degree or master's degree. So they set aside money for you to further on your education, because we're all about promotion, about taking the next step. So education is a huge part of that. So, we haven't had a fire chief within going up the ranks of Mountain View, and hopefully one of the firefighters that we hired today will be a fire chief eventually one of these days.
Maybe one is sitting right here.
Yeah.
We don't know. Incredible. And so tuition reimbursement is available
Tuition reimbursement is available, yes.
Beautiful. So. All right. Let's talk about programs, specialties that are available that maybe you all are involved in. Excuse me. And so Shannon, we'll start it off with you, which is how does your department support, employees? Lots of departments say that they're like family. What does some of the support look like that Mountain View provides?
I think that's totally accurate when describing our department, is that we are a big family and the support is bountiful. Dana was my first engineer, and just to have her there to kind of set me up on probation was phenomenal. A great support system that lucky enough that I still get to lean on her today. But I would say the department as a whole, we really promote if you want to advance your career. That's really supported throughout the department. I could go up and I'd say, hey, I want to start working on my acting engineer, and it would be met with awesome, let's do it. Let's start that right now. Let me open your task book. And it's a really cool environment. I don't know if every department gets to be like that, but I feel super fortunate that if I show interest, it's met with that same amount of enthusiasm. So I think that that's great, and I think that makes me happier to come to work, that I feel valued in my job, and I think that's a huge benefit of working for our department.
Mm-hmm. And that goes back to something that you said about Mountain View has all of these opportunities available, but then when you get there, they're actually available to you. People, support you.
What I heard was you want to start your acting engineering.
No, I'm so happy to be here right now.
Right here.
That's what I heard. I'm sorry.
Firefighter. But see enthusiasm.
We'll start tomorrow.
We're pretty eager to learn in our career. We always trying to be better than we were yesterday, and keep pushing each other to the limits. So it's fun.
Keep a cool part of the career.
Yeah.
It's like the desire to learn is harvested and promoted. I don't know if any other career gets to be like that.
Yeah.
That 20 years down the line, we're still taking classes and still learning and still just as stoked to be there as we were day one.
It's competitive.
Yeah.
We're all competitors. We're all
friendly competition.
Yeah, exactly. So
keeps you going. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. Well said.
Very well said. Oh man. And so Dana, can you talk a bit about? And so this is coming from, we've had conversations leading up to today. Mountain View is extremely involved within the community. I know you are as well. Can you talk a little bit about the community that you serve? How do you give back when you're not at work?
Oh, I'm so fortunate. I live and work in the same town. My family's there. I grew up there on a 17-acre farm, a tomato farm, believe it or not. And the way we give back as Mountain View firefighters, this is kind of like a tradition, is we have Mountain View Firefighter Random Acts. And when we go on calls and we see somebody has a need, we have the funds through donations that we do with the fire drill run. Companies donate when we do big events like that, and the pancake breakfast. And we can go on a call and we can see somebody, say they don't have wheelchair access to their home. We can use that money to buy the ramp or buy the material, and then we would go build the ramp for them. So it's a great program, and it really does give directly back to the people we serve, and we're super fortunate to have that program. It's been about 15 years, and they've been doing the pancake breakfast, a little bit longer actually. Yeah, and the pancake breakfast is another big event that we have in September, and it's so cool to see all the community come out, and we rappel from the tower, and we cut up a car, and we do a burn. It's really entertaining for the public to see what we do and connect with people on that level.
It was great. This past year, I think the union and the fire department pulled together in 3 months to do the pancake breakfast. Usually it takes them a year to plan that, right?
Yeah, and because of the pandemic, we were so limited with getting the things we needed to put on the event, and it was a great turnout, thousands of people, thousands. And the money we raised for that goes to the Burn Foundation. And so we're super fortunate to be able to give back to the community and to the people we serve in that aspect.
Shout out to the Facebook chefs. They come out and cook the pancakes for us and provide everything. So thank you, Facebook. So.
Thank you, Facebook chefs.
Google is our
big sponsor for the fire drill run, and it's a 5K, 10K, and it's a great way to get involved and meet us because we all volunteer it, and we all are working the pancake breakfast. And in between our events, like if Menza's cutting up a car, in between the time, he could be sitting there talking to the community and interacting, and it's pretty special.
It's very special.
Is this a good time? Is this a good time to promote our 150th anniversary of the fire department.
It's the perfect
So on May 19th, we'll be having our parade downtown of Castro Street in Mountain View. A lot of fire engines, a lot of activities for kids, some speakers, probably most likely the fire chief and the mayor. So it's going to be a fabulous event for everybody to come. Thank you, City Manager Kimbra, as well as for allowing us to do that. So it's going to be great. So please be there May 19th.
Okay, and what time on May 19th?
I believe it starts at 10 o'clock,
Okay.
if not earlier.
Okay.
So it's probably all over our Facebook page as well as X and next door.
For sure, for sure. Even leading up to today, the fact that you all provide such tangible resources for the community, when you talked about building the wheelchair ramp and the funding coming in and really all of you pulling together to do that was just really impressive. So thank you for sharing that.
We're proud of it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, so we want to remind candidates watching at home, we want to remind you, go ahead, put questions in the chat. We are coming to the chat. We do have one more question for you before we go ahead and enter the chat. And that is, what can candidates do to get in touch with you? You mentioned, a couple events that you have that are coming up, but how can candidates go about meeting you? And I think you mentioned previously maybe station visits.
Yes, so station visits is always welcome. We actually encourage people to come by the fire station, knock on the door. And if you have no idea what the fire service is about, please come knock on our door. You can also reach out and schedule a stop by on fire.mountview.gov. But please reach out, stop any firefighter and say, especially when they're not doing anything emergency-wise, and say, hey, I'd love to come by the fire station. I think I invite a lot of people to my station, and I think sometimes my crews get annoyed a little bit. But the thing is, as soon as we open the door, they want to know who the candidate is or who the person is. And so it's like, where are you at in your pursuit for being a firefighter? And so next thing you know, 1 hour becomes 3 hours, and next thing you know, they're helping us chopping up our dinner, going like, you're still here? So we welcome everybody. So
you can start out with a station visit, and then hopefully that can progress to a ride along that maybe you have to schedule.
Right. Okay. Schedule it with admin, but if you want to be a Mountain View firefighter, come talk to Mountain View firefighters, and we'll tell you what the culture's like and how the job is, and we'll be real with you, and we'd love to meet you and be seeing what your personality's like, what you like, because we actually all live together and our careers are about 30 years, so we want to get to know you. We want to see your personality.
Well, every fire department has its own culture and own personality. So just because you test with one department doesn't mean that you're the best fit for them. So that's why it's important to do a ride along or a station visit, because they're like, you know what, I have these two job offers, and I was like, but Mountain View, I want to work for Mountain View, or I want to work for the other department because I fit better with them. So it really comes down to personality.
You had an example about culture and different things at different departments. I think it had to do with you mopping.
No, yeah. So if I can plug, Oakland Firefighter Union President Zach Unger, he wrote a book called Working Fire, and I remember reading in a passage saying, the senior firefighter cuts the bread there. In our culture, in our fire department, usually the senior firefighter at the dinner table at Station 1 is the first one to get up to race for the sink to wash dishes.
It's a fight.
It's a fight. I mean, safe-wise.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we sit the probationary firefighter or the junior firefighter the furthest away from the sink, so they have to battle their way to the sink and just to get to do their duty, just to wash dishes.
You want to wash dishes.
Right.
Yeah.
But not knowing the culture, as a probationary firefighter, I remember being with a senior crew at a smaller station or substation. I was mopping, after dinner, and the crews were sitting on the recliner going like, hey, Rook, stop mopping, you're making us uncomfortable. And I didn't understand that because I thought that's what was supposed to be done after every meal. And they said, no, you mopped it once in the morning, you don't have to mop it again until the next morning. So I was like, okay, so lessons learned about how the culture is. Every department has its own culture, subculture, and so on.
All right.
Different shifts too.
And different shifts too, yes.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Some shifts like to play dice and others don't, and some people just like to get up and go clean the table.
There it is. So you're racing to the kitchen every evening?
Yeah. I mean, you take chairs out from underneath people, you know, safely. Safely. But I've definitely I've definitely lifted up like somebody who's in the sink and moved them because I needed to do the dishes.
My trick was to soak the sink so I can, if they beat me, I can wiggle them out of there.
Oh, so it's slippery.
I take the faucet and just like drench them.
Yeah.
Just drench them.
That's one of my go-to.
Perfect.
You count the bottoms, they hook their toes underneath, and you can't pull them off. So.
I move the sink down. I just pick up the whole sink.
I'm Shannon.
You can stand there. It'll still come to me. Yeah.
But there's 2 sinks in the kitchen.
There are.
Oh, man. But this is why they have to come talk to you all, because they need to learn the tricks of the trade at Mountain View specifically.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, we're going to go ahead, jump into the chat, take some questions. Mitch, do we have any candidate questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of opportunities and programs at Mountain View, Michelle, hello, Michelle. We appreciate you. She's one of the few folks that I recognize as a recurring viewer. So she was wondering about, do you guys have dogs in the department, like therapy dogs, or using them for arson detection? But essentially, do you have any furry friends around the department to comfort folks, or otherwise use?
So, go ahead.
Okay. We did have 2 dogs that were a live cadaver dog and a cadaver dog. And our 2 dogs are out right now, but they will be back soon, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
So, yeah.
We do have, with the therapy dogs, we're talking to our EAP program saying that we have a contract dog that comes by for therapy. They're finding out that having dogs come in for serious calls actually helps with getting over what you saw or what we do on call. So hopefully that will work with our EAP. So, yeah.
And every large incident, every wildland large incident we go on, or any type of large incident, even with Task Force 3, they'll have dogs there for that reason. And they're cute little puppies, and you get to walk up and just like play with the dog and then get back to work, So it's good.
So the dogs assist like in peer support,
Exactly.
to a degree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Mitch?
Awesome. So we've got another question from Michelle, which is, do you have any programs for girls or women in particular that either to just expose them to the fire service or maybe further along actually bringing them into the fold?
Great question. Our department ourselves don't have like a program specifically for women, but we have a lot of mentors for women that will reach out and is good contact. But we participate in the girls' camps that are all around the Bay Area or in Northern California. I think the last one that I participated in was in Santa Clara. I've gone to them in Contra Costa. So I think those girls' trips or those girls' camps, are a great way to meet a bunch of women. So, yeah.
I believe there's one coming up soon too as well. I forget the date, but there's one coming up soon, a girls' camp,
yes.
women's conference actually.
Oh yeah, they're women's conference. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a mentor, feel free to stop by and come talk to us. Yeah, we're always available.
Yeah.
There it is.
We love women in the fire service.
So women in the fire service, come by if you have questions, and then get plugged into a girls' camp, probably through NorCal Women in Fire or one of the organizations.
That's a great way to start off.
Awesome. You guys ready for one more question?
Let's do it.
All right, let's take one more, Mitch.
I did want to quickly give a shout out to a friend of FCTC in the Cal-JAC, which is Chief Jenna Graham, who's on the Cal-JAC Commission to recruit women for the fire service. So through Jenna, Mountain Views also participates in helping the Cal-JAC with the different recruitment events that we host and mentorship and all kinds of things like that. So if you're watching, what's up, Jenna? So the last questions are about ride-alongs and station visits. I have one from Shane M. from Instagram and one from Living in the East Bay, CA on YouTube. And they're wondering, who do I reach out to? What is the process for scheduling a station visit and or ride-along?
So they can go on our website, and there's a contact information on there to set up a station visit. You can also knock on our door like we were talking about, and you can set up through our battalion chief as well on shift. So, and there's an email too. We can actually email our department and actually schedule a time for when we're available to have you do a station visit.
I think it's fire.mountainview.gov. So there is a underlying cultural thing about doing a station visit too. So usually a lot of people bring ice cream, or I think we've gotten healthier in the years. So I know that candidates or people who are visiting the fire station bring either coffee, fruits, you know, donuts. You know, if you, it's healthy. It's got the O in the middle, so it takes out all the calories. But usually it's more of a thank you to the crews, giving their time to the person to visit the station.
If you're going to do a station visit, you want to dress to impress. We're not asking you to wear a suit and tie. Some nice pants, you know, business casual. I always used to have a pair of gloves in the back of my pocket, just in case if they're training outside, if they're rolling up hose, we can help assist with them with that. Bring a pad of paper to take notes as well too. So.
Yeah, bring a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, you know, our department's different from a lot of other departments, so you have to have those little subtle differences to know which department you want to work for, or if you want to be a firefighter at all.
So if I'm going on a ride-along at Mountain View, I should bring a pad of paper. I should definitely bring some goodies, maybe some healthy ones as well, right? Come ready to work, maybe with some working gloves, not in a suit and tie or anything, but ready to get dirty if needed.
Yes.
Should I be racing to the sink too to wash the dishes, or no? Okay.
I'll have to pick you up.
Why is she lifting me up?
And the sink. Good stuff. All right. Well, thank you for clarifying that. So with that, I know that Mountain View uses FCTC for the statewide eligibility list and CPAT. And so we have Mitch here, the FCTC program director. He's here with us. And so we'd like him to kind of start out and explain the statewide eligibility list and how to get on it, because I know that that's part of your hiring process, and then we can segue into your hiring requirements. So Mitch, if you could clarify that for the team.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lasana, for the opportunity. So the main thing is we want to kind of demystify the process for everyone watching. And it really is not super complicated, fortunately. So FCTC administers throughout California the CPAT, the Candidate Physical Ability Test, as well as the FCTC written test. Candidates that pass CPAT and pass the FCTC written test and are also at least 18 years old, have a valid driver's license, and a high school diploma or equivalent, those candidates are placed on our statewide eligibility list. This list we provide to many departments around the state, including Mountain View. And then the department kind of takes it from there, and we'll use this kind of pre-qualified list to then move folks forward in their hiring process. One thing I will mention in particular, when you create an FCTC account, you can do that on our website, fctconline.org. You create an account on there, make sure that you provide as much information as possible. You know, past work experience, educational background, military experience. Include as much as you can, because anything that will set you apart from other candidates in this process is going to be huge. So part of that is upload EMT certifications, Firefighter 1 certifications, and paramedics licenses. Make sure those are current on our website, because if a department is requiring them and we don't have an updated version, or you've never uploaded it to our website, well, now that department thinks that you don't have that certification. So that was a lot, I know. But with that, I'll turn it back to the panel.
Thank you, Mitch. Oh man, so in addition to getting on the statewide eligibility list, what else is required in your hiring process? And David, I think you can.
So just to tag on what Mitch was saying, high school diploma, GED, driver's license, your EMT or paramedic license. And if you go on the website, there is the essential things that you need, but there's also things that desirable. So like what Mitch was saying, like, you know, come with a lot of experience, certifications to upload those into FCTC. And one of the things about minimum requirements, we don't want to shoot for the minimum. You want to get the best. So when you do take the FCT test, you want to get the best score, the highest score, because that way we can actually invite you into wanting to test with us. And every department's going to be different. You know, you got to kind of read the fine print, what they require. So for example, in our desirable certifications, they ask for a driver's operator 1A, 1B. If you have a certification in confined space technician, hazmat, those are the things that we look for.
I think on top of that, with all the minimum requirements that we ask for, if you're in between when a department is hiring and you have all of those things and you're just waiting for something to open up, I think what doesn't get to shed a lot of light on is your life experience is huge when you come in and interview us, because that's what sets you apart. We all have the same certifications going into that application process because you have to, right? But what makes you different and what makes you interesting and cool is everything that happens in your life outside of the fire service, because like Dana said, we live together and we want to get along with you. We want to have your personality fit with our personality. So while you're waiting, life experience and what you're doing will set you apart from other candidates as well. So don't think that you're not doing anything. You're still actively getting ready for this job.
And probably learning how to communicate that in a way that explains that I've been.
Absolutely, yeah. I think, yeah, selling yourself is difficult, but yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
When Shannon was talking about, you know, we work 24, 48-hour shifts. When I was interviewing candidates on the panel, the one thing I look for is, yeah, I look at their resume, but I also look for, this is someone I can work with for 20 or 30 years. Is this person personable? Is he genuine? Positive attitude. Attitude in our department and any other department is huge, because even if you don't have the experience or maybe the certifications that maybe one of us have, but if you come with a positive attitude, that's what we want. That's what we're looking for.
And we don't always go to these fun, really good calls, and you want to have somebody who's gonna stay uplifting and work hard next to you. You know, I'm here for these guys. I'm here to take care of us. You know, like. That's what we want, is somebody who has the family-oriented mentality, teamwork, and ready to work.
Mm-hmm. And that's why the interview process is probably one of the most important things in getting hired, is can you convey who you are to the panel. So there's 3 people. Most panels are usually 3 people, depending on different ranks. And so if you can't explain who you are to them, then it's hard to get hired. Mm-hmm. And it's not a one and done thing. You have to work on your interview. It's a learned skill. Yeah. You have to practice it. One of the things that I tell candidates or people who are trying to get hired is go on the internet, look for the top 50 questions of entry-level firefighters and try to answer every question. You should be able to answer every question, because all those answers are about you. So if you have difficulty answering why do I want to be a firefighter, which I think is one of the hardest questions ever, because a lot of people default to, I want to help people. Well, we all want to help people. You know, people working in the service industry want to help people. Doctors want to, so everybody wants to help people. So your answer has to really cater to yourself. Why do you want to be a firefighter? And that's why I say that's one of the hardest questions to answer. But if you know your strengths and your weaknesses, if you know more about the department, that's what you need to bring to the interview process. And it's okay to be nervous. You're not in an interview setting all the time. That's why we ask you to practice, set up mock interviews with fire personnel, so you can get comfortable in interviewing. And that's only one step. The FCTC written test, as well as CPAT, is your ticket to get to the interview. And then there's a whole bunch of processes after that.
And so what happens with the statewide eligibility list once FCTC has sent over the whole list of all the candidates that are on the FCTC statewide eligibility list? What happens at Mountain View once that's received?
We basically accept the list, and we filter different requirements that we want. So if you're a paramedic, if you're an EMT, if you have a Firefighter 1 certificate, if you have other classes like driver operator or confined space, we'll filter through all those and we'll set up basically a list from that, and we'll send out emails to saying, please come interview for us. So when it comes down to score, when you pass and you get a 90 and you're like, I'm done, I'm gonna wait for my emails. That's not the case, because in Mountain View, we'll usually say we want the top 100 or 1,000 paramedics. And so that can range from 100 down to 90. So, or 92. So if you got a 90, you're not gonna make that list. So you have to work for that higher score. You're able to take the FCTC written test after 30 days. So you get a score of 82, and you're like, I need to better my score. Wait the 30 days, and study hard for those 30 days, and test again. So it's about being competitive with other people, because there are people that score in the hundreds, but they could be really good test takers. So.
And I feel like a lot of people get discouraged by the interview process, because you go to these interviews and you get told no, right? I don't know how many you guys have done, but just persistence is the key for the fire service. And you learn every interview you go to, you learn how you could have done better, or get those nerves out so that you sound more polished and
ask for help.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I thought you had to go through the process and yourself, so I never asked for help. I didn't ask for mocks, and I learned by process of failure. But now that you can knock on the firehouse door and say, hey, I have a mock coming up for this other department, can you help me? I'll be like, sure, let's go. Right now, let's get in the office, close the door, and let me give you some interview questions. So I think for me, since it took me such a long time and so hard for me to get hired, that's all I want to do is help people get hired, because it shouldn't take you 5 years.
Yeah, and you've got to get mad. I feel like I got told no so many times. I would get so angry.
Every letter of no, it was like a motivation for me to want to be better.
Yeah.
It's all different though. I mean, I walked out of an interview going like, I nailed that. And next thing you know, I didn't hear anything. I was like, oh gosh. So, but then other ones where, it's like, I took a different attitude, like, this is gonna be my last interview ever. I'm gonna blow them off their socks. And then next thing you know, Mountain View said, you're hired. So.
I used to practice in front of the mirror.
I did that too, yeah.
I would time myself to make sure it wasn't too long.
Too?
Yeah.
I would hear your voice?
Yeah.
Terrible.
It's awkward, but yeah, you're like.
I sound like that.
Imagine how awkward it is for other people too. Like, you're answering the question, maybe you thought you answered it, but you didn't really answer it.
Yeah.
Or and so watching yourself in the mirror or playing that back on tape or however you record it, probably helpful, right?
Yes.
Right,
Absolutely.
and I know when you're interviewing, you're nervous and you're like, oh, did I say the right thing? Just keep talking. We want to hear what you got. And if you're, if you have a list of, tell me about yourself, and you're talking about hobbies and your education and your family and all these things, we want to know. So I feel like the more you divulge, the better it is for you.
I see people come alive in interview process when they can really relate to the question. Tell us about a stressful situation. And all of a sudden, like, oh, I know this one, versus other people who haven't thought of that question before, and they're making something up in their head. Like, I was stressed coming to this interview,
Right now.
Out of everything.
We're in this stress right now. So I was sitting in an office with you.
Yeah. So you have to think about those questions, have a Rolodex of answers that you can draw from, because the interview is very important.
Beautiful. And asking for help. And
asking for help, yes, number one. Yes.
Find out how to answer our questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
And learn about us, right? Like learn specifically about Mountain View. Like if you're on this right now listening, then you're hearing insider information of projects we have or things we offer as a department. So those are things you want to talk about in your interview.
We didn't talk about this one, but now, based on this conversation, I'm just curious, where were you when you got the call that Mountain View wants you? Anybody have an interesting story on that one?
I think I had a pretty good story in rehearsal. I actually got the phone call. I was actually in Chico, and I was transporting a patient. I was driving. I was following all the rules of the law, and I was driving properly. But I get a phone call. I think it was Ruth at the time in admin. And I get a phone call. It was like 650 number. I'm like, I don't know that number. So I had to pull over. I told my partner in the back, hey, I have to take this phone call. We're gonna get to the hospital as soon as we can. And it was that one phone call I've been waiting forever, you know. And that's one thing about when Melton was saying that, you know, when you're practicing the interviews, I was at a point where I wanted to give up. And when I decided, no, I'm gonna give my last chance, my last interview, I got not just one phone call, I got multiple offers, all within a couple of like months during that time. But I told myself that whoever's gonna call me first, that's the department I'm going to spend my 30 years with, is essentially what happened.
So once you kind of unlock that door, all the doors unlock, and then the offers seem to come in.
But it's about you, right? And your journey and your growth as you're practicing these interviews and how much you put into it, honestly, and the person that you become and emulate when you're doing the interview. So I think for Menza, he was the right guy at the right time.
It was.
Yeah.
You have an amazing way of explaining things.
Thank you.
you are so very well. I mean, I always feel so informed. Anyway, so we've talked a lot. Okay. Can we go back and just get a very quick recap of the requirements of what Mountain View? I know you answered the question, but if we could just
So just like to tag on what Mitch was saying, you also want to have a high school diploma, GED, your Firefighter 1, a driver's license, your EMT and paramedic. Those are the essential job minimum requirements, and also be active on FCTC through the written test, through the CPAT physical agility test too as well. I believe you have to do that every year to validate it. And also having additional desirable certifications with the City of Mountain View.
Okay, all right. And then to clarify, this one we haven't talked about yet, but when is the next time Mountain View will be hiring or is looking to host a recruitment?
So actually we're starting an Academy of 3 on February 5th. It's an abbreviated academy. They're all laterals. So instead of the regular 20 weeks of academy, it's actually 5 weeks. So because they have experience. But the next time we're hiring, we hire by availability. So when there's retirements, we're going to look at the list. If it's an eligible list, our list lasts for a year after the interview. So we'll look at the list. If it's still eligible, then we'll hire off that list. If not, we'll send out a flyer or email saying, please come test with us.
Yes. So follow you on social media. That's how you find out. Just stay tuned to our page, right? Which is in the chat right now.
And if you probably go on the FCTC list, you'll see our name on there.
Absolutely. And we will make sure to get that posted for you. Absolutely. So let's go ahead. Let's go to the chat. I hear lots of questions are coming in regarding everything that was just said. And Mitch, also feel free to jump in if you have anything you wanted to clarify regarding retaking the FCTC written test, or I know a lot's come up.
Yeah, agreed on that front. So one thing is, and I know it was mentioned, but the idea that, you know, even though Mountain View may not be hiring right now, things like staying physically fit, you know, staying mentally focused are important for when you do get that opportunity, you know, when it does spring up. So with that, I want to mention that FCTC has a number of different testing options available in Northern California and Southern California for CPAT written testing. And we're very excited that on this list that you see on the screen there includes FCTC San Diego County. This is our brand new facility that will be holding its first CPAT test in 2 days. And so we're really excited to expand down in the San Diego area. But please check out the website, fctconline.org, and you can see all of our different testing options. So with that, Miguel Vega would like to know, how do you recommend that people interested in the fire service get physically and mentally ready to take the CPAT and FCTC written test? And I'll quickly let the audience know about FCTC's resources. If you go on our website, you can schedule an FCTC written test prep class. It's about a 2.5 hour long instructor-led class where they kind of go through the expectations, what to expect on test day, sample questions. And so that's one option for getting prepared for the written test. And then for CPAT, we offer practice tests, and it's a just very real simulation of a test day to kind of give you an idea of how much more work you have to do, or if you're feeling confident. And then every time you purchase a CPAT, it comes with 2 free orientations. And this is a really cool opportunity to be able to come into our centers. Our staff can work with you and kind of actually help to coach you and teach you how to improve, or teach you little tricks that they've learned. So that's a really great opportunity for preparation on the CPAT side of things. So sorry guys, but I'll turn it back over to you, but I want to make sure folks know about our resources.
I might have been the person who's taken it the most recently, sitting here with all of you guys.
Well, we're going to shout out to Miguel. Hey, Miguel, see you tonight.
Hi, Miguel.
Sounds like he's a friend.
We'll see you tonight, Miguel.
Responses. But you have taken it most recently. Any tips? Or
I think, like Mitch was saying, the practice ones are totally valuable to go and do, because you'll get your hands on. You'll know exactly, like, I really struggle with this part, and I need to make sure that I save my energy, or I can move a little bit faster through this. And it's all just about figuring out how to take the test on a daily basis. I had a captain once tell me that firefighters were professional athletes, and I think that really resonates with all of us. Is we? Yeah, right. Congrats to you guys.
Industrial athletes.
Yeah,
That's what we are. Yeah.
Daily, like, fitness needs to be part of your daily regimen, and it can be whatever fitness works for you. Like, I like to do this, or you guys like to do that, but just keeping fitness as part of your daily regimen, I think, is super important. But the practicing the CPAT, highly recommend, because then once you get that out of the way, you can just focus on yourself.
I say, aside from like running and going to the gym, imagine going to the gym and running with a weighted vest. So a lot of what we do is, with our turnouts, we have our SCBA on, and then we have to go to work on a mask. So it's a progression. I would say, if you're going to start, the first thing I would start off is kind of, maybe go to your doctor, get a checkup, and see if there's, you're 100% good to go. And make sure you obviously eat very well. I mean, obviously that's one of the big things. I'm still learning how to eat better and try to sleep. I have to admit, so I'm still learning how to sleep better. So that's always been a battle for me, is sleeping, and they all know why they're laughing, because I snore. That's what I do. I snore, and everyone knows about it. Thank you, Miguel. Everyone.
The first step is
yeah. But to like I said, just if you, like I said, imagine, like, if you do your workout with a weighted vest, and then kind of just build off of that. I know the CPAT has like a blueprint of like the things that we do every day.
Hi, Milton Moore here. I actually proctored for CPAT in the Livermore, so hello Larry and everybody there. I think you have to be realistic of what actually is being done there. You have 2 practice or 2 orientations and a practice. It's like, please do show up. It's your investment for yourself. So if you go there and you take the practice and you don't make it and you don't pass, you can postpone your test for later. So you get yourself ready further on the date of, like, I didn't pass it at the practice, I can work out more later on.
Can I clarify something
Yes.
really quickly? So the practice is not you coming to practice just components of the CPAT.
No.
The practice is the actual test,
The actual
only
test.
it doesn't count.
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct. So you have your orientation. We'll take you through every event, not in order because there's so many candidates. And if you never lifted a sledgehammer or swung a sledgehammer, we'll teach you the techniques. If you haven't never raised a halyard, we'll teach you the techniques. And it's a good basis of like where you are physically, because taking the CPAT is just the base of where you should be, versus in the academy, it is totally different. But so at the CPAT, you should go through the orientation as well as go through the practice. Be realistic. Actually, one candidate that came up to me and goes, I have a weighted vest or a backpack with weights in it, but I don't have a Stairmaster, but I'm on the elliptical, and it's no problem for me. I was like, well, the elliptical and the Stairmaster is way different. I can tell you the 3 events that people fail on is usually the Stairmaster, and then it's going to be the halyard because it slips. If it slips once at all, you fail. And I think the third thing that people usually fail out is time. So they run out of time. 10 minutes and 20 seconds, and you run out of time.
I think that's why endurance is so important. So if you are interested in being a firefighter, Miguel, you should definitely get your endurance up and go for a long hike with the vest on, or run as long as you can till exhaustion. Because a lot of this job is when you do have to work and you're at a structure fire, you need to know your own limits. You need to know how far you can push your body, because the last thing you want to be is going down on a fire and now you're a problem for us. And so, or not a problem, sorry. But now we have to take care of you instead of you taking care of yourself, knowing your limits, pushing yourself to those limits, being a part of the team, and being a constructive part of the team.
Well said.
Well, way of explaining things.
Well said, right? I'm telling, it's a skill.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Quick question. So, okay, the candidate that comes in, I'm fit. I'm strong. I don't need to prepare for CPAT. Any tips for them on where they might go wrong?
You need to prepare for CPAT.
You need to prepare.
This is not like the gym. Like what you guys have all been saying, this job you can be fit and this job will humble you. And you have to practice doing firefighter stuff. Be fit, and that's awesome because I think you already have a leg up, but learn how to do firefighter stuff on top of that, and then you'll learn like a whole new level of fitness. So.
I'll tag on to that. So I don't know if everyone can see that picture behind us. I'm going to highlight this picture right here. So this is in Indianapolis. So imagine we were talking about you need to be physically fit. Now try to do that in an environment you can't see. You're on your hands and knees. It's hot, and then you have to drag a dummy or out of a house, and it's 250 pounds dead weight, and then you need to drag them out. So you need to have that cardiovascular. You need to start running. You need to prepare for everything, not just the CPAT, the written test, everything.
So the picture behind us is the fire department training network in Indianapolis, where it's basically fire combat school, where you actually combat 30 fires within 4 days. So you're in and out, in and out. You reset your engine and you fight fire again and again and again, just to get the experience of the heat and the smoke and the lack of visibility. And my folks there just exhausted themselves, but they went every day like it was another fire. So that was great training.
That was great.
I would go again.
Yeah, I would go again too.
And I think that's the mentality of the fire service. You don't walk in saying, oh, I got it, right? You go in and you say, I want to be better than I was yesterday, and keep pushing yourself and pushing yourself. And like we said, iron sharpens iron. So we're all there to push each other, physically and mentally.
I can speak probably for all of us that even, he's coming up on 20 years, 12, almost done with probation. We are continuing to learn every day, and I think when you stop wanting to learn, it's something that maybe you probably should do something else. But for me, I have the passion for the job. I learn something new every day. If it's not, with driving a fire engine or my paramedicine, it's communicating with the public, or oh yeah, they do that too. So there's always something that you have to have, and it's a mindset too. If you're coming in with an attitude or that I got this, well, I'm going to tell you, you don't got this. You need to come with a positive attitude, and like Dana was saying was ready to work.
Yeah, always be hungry. Yeah. Always be hungry. Hungry for knowledge, hungry for skills, you know, techniques. You don't know everything, you never will in this job, and you're trying to stay ahead of that curve, because that's when accidents happen, is when you get complacent. And we're here to look out for each other and keep each other safe, and we want somebody who is in the same mindset.
So good. I have goosebumps. The conversation is so good. The conversation it's really, really good. Let's jump back into the chat. Mitch, let's take a couple more questions.
Yeah, so quickly, again, just mentioning resources that are available through FCTC. You can check out on this YouTube channel or on our website at fctconline.org. But watch the orientation video. It goes through all of the things that are warnings and failures for the CPAT. So check it out on our website or on this YouTube channel. But even if you're fully physically ready for the test, you can still fail on a technicality if you are not familiar with the rules. So highly encourage you, check out the resources on FCTC's website, because that'll help you avoid that. So lastly, for this section, I had one more question from Isaac Munoz, and he is wondering, he has an understanding that Mountain View, for the most part, seeks to hire laterals. And he's wondering, well, I guess I'm kind of wondering, is this a myth to dispel, or what is the kind of, I guess, proportion of, you know, times that you're hiring new folks versus having folks lateral over?
I think I'll answer that. I think it was a trend of the time of hiring laterals, because we had so many openings and we had to hire them quickly. So for us to actually go into an entry level and hire somebody within 20 weeks of an academy, and then probably 2 more weeks of our academy, by the time they got online, we'd still be understaffed. So the general trend is to hire laterals right now to fill those holes until we can get fully staffed, and then when the dust is settled, to hire entry level. But you know what, we are trying to hire the best candidates, if they're entry level or laterals. So please put in your best effort to get hired with Mountain View, because we are probably the best department out there. The best. So,
there it is.
Yeah, I had to plug that in.
So as an entry-level person, you do have the opportunity to get hired with Mountain View.
Yeah. You know what, I think there's a value of entry level, because they have the duration of the 30 years that they possibly could be staying there, versus a lateral, you know, they come in with, you know, 20 years, you know, they have a shelf life of 10 more years. So filling that hole of just our general people retiring and then laterals retiring at the same time, there's going to be more holes to fill than there are people coming in. So hope that answers your question, Isaac.
Mitch?
I think that's the last that we have in this section, Lasana, okay. So we can keep rolling.
All right, let's keep it moving. So question for you. So you are coming up on an exciting opportunity. You'll be leading academies.
I'll be assisting. Well, I'll be assisting. So I have a great opportunity. So February 5th, we're going to be having an academy for our 3 candidates. Not only is it special, but the academy coordinator and myself, I'll be the fire liaison. We're both academy mates. So we actually came on together, and so we get an opportunity, obviously, to work together and then kind of pass the tradition and our culture on to the future firefighters.
Okay, and so do you have any maybe tips for potential recruits that will be in a future academy for them to make it through Mountain View's academy?
So just like with any academy, going in it with, like I said, a positive attitude and ready to work. Like I think we all kind of touched on that a little bit, actually a lot. And just having that desire, passion, wanting to work and wanting to get going.
Okay. And
I think prepping your family, because the academy
that's huge.
is very similar to being on work, because you're going to be gone, 4 weeks straight or 5 weeks straight of being gone from 7 to what time? They get up?
7 to 5.
7 to 5. So it's a 10-hour day for 4/10s. So you're going to be gone. You're going to be tired. You're going to be coming home. Especially with people who have to commute in for the academy. Hopefully, I think we had one class that actually rented an apartment and they all lived together for the academy, just so they didn't have to commute. But your family is essential to be on board with you through the journey, because the academy and then during probation isn't any easier as well, because probation is just as long and hard, mentally tough and physically tough as well.
So it's kind of touch with Melton was saying, after the academy and the probation, it's 18-month probation with Mountain View, and we have a, Shannon will know, we have a high expectation for our firefighters. When they come out at 18 months, they have this wealth of knowledge, and they're, as a retired captain would say, Dennis Custodio would say, I would take one of our new minted firefighters off probation over a 5-year guy, because they have so much vast knowledge ready to work out after probation's done.
Teach us something. Go. Oh man! And so one of the questions that that comes up occasionally for candidates, depending on, I think it's an example of how fresh they are to the process and learning about it. What's the difference between the academy at Mountain View or the academy at a fire department and the academy you find at a community college?
I think it's going to all depend on, at least for us, and the culture. We will sit them down first day or week, and we'll have a sit-down conversation. They will talk to our EMS battalion chief, her expectations. The fire chief's going to have a discussion with them, kind of discussing the Mountain View way and our core values. They'll get opportunity to talk with our union president as well, on the union side, and all of us, as far as other members, will have an opportunity to kind of mold them to like how we would want them as for Mountain View firefighters. And now, I guess different from a community college, it might be, like the scheduling or like the kind of like who's teaching. It's just different. Mm-hmm. It might be military type style versus kind of just like a regular college class. Mm-hmm. I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I think in the college courses for the fire academy, you're learning what is the fire service, how, like, the basics, the foundation of the fire service. When you come to our academy, we're going to teach you how to be a Mountain View firefighter. And that's our expectations and our standards, and this is how we pull hose compared to wherever you might have come from before or what you learned in your fire academy. So I think, the difference would be you're going to learn our way.
Mm-hmm. You are segueing into my next question.
Oh, perfect. That's what I'm here for.
And so you're very close to finishing probation. How many days away again?
5 days. Hopefully I counted that right, because now it's out there forever.
Leave year.
Yeah.
And so talk a bit about the day in the life of a probationary firefighter. What's that like?
So first one up, for our department, we have a tradition of I do the dishes and I empty the dishwasher. So for my day personally at 7:15, I'm at the dishwasher, again, ready to fight if anyone tries to touch my dishes. Emptying the dishwasher, and then at 8, my cleaning starts, and we clean the house and make sure that looks good, that everything's ready. And then it's funny how much that will tell you about a person. It's like their attention to detail and what they put into the firehouse, because it's our house. We share it, we all live there. So if I don't do a good job, that says a lot about my view of my department. Like, they're not worth me putting on new toilet paper or whatever the case may be. I'm the paramedic on the engine, so I also check out my EMS gear, make sure that my narcotics are up to date, and all my EMS stuff is ready to be used because we can get a call whenever my day starts. And then training throughout the day, I have a task book that I have to get signatures on, whether that I need a signature that day or I ask for training, we do that. We all eat every meal together, so we get to have lunch, and that's a great time. That's like family time. That's a lot of fun.
Usually the hardest part is who's cooking.
Yeah. The big thing. Everyone just looks at each other for a little bit.
Do you guys flip a coin? Or
Yeah.
But as a pro-V, you want to show off your
Yeah.
cooking skills.
You want to,
so.
yeah. Or lack of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that cleaning part sounds a little weird, you know, but it definitely translates to how you treat your equipment and how you work and your ethics. Like, having pride in your work in general and being proud to work where you work and being holding yourself at a high standard will translate to not being lazy on the fire ground and, you know, careless or making sloppy mistakes. So
I think, my day just as a whole is busy. I'm constantly doing something. I'm making sure I know where things are. I'm asking questions. I want to make sure that, like they were all saying, that when I get off of the line, they want to work with me. Like they want me on their crew. That's huge to me. And so my probation is 18 months of putting forth that desire, that attitude of like, you're gonna ask me to be on your crew. And that's my time to prove it. So, yeah.
I wish you all the cupcakes and all the celebrations in about a week.
Absolutely.
Oh man, incredible. We're gonna go back to the chat for our last round of questions. We'll come back and ask you for some advice.
Awesome, thanks, Lasana. So we have a few questions from Instagram that I think were kind of covered throughout this conversation, but how long is the academy and probation? 18-month probation, and how long was the academy?
It's 5 weeks.
5-week academy?
Yes.
that's the lateral academy.
That's the lateral academy. It's 5
Yeah,
weeks.
and the 18-month probation sounds long, but if you think about it, giving up 18 months of your life to have the best career in the world and do it for 30 years is a small sacrifice.
At the best department.
Yeah.
So well said.
Stop it.
Mitch?
And so the next question from Instagram is from S. Merck. And it's about how to prepare physically for the academy. I know we've already kind of talked pretty extensively about getting ready for the CPAT. So maybe just to narrow the scope, can you all just talk about things that are different from this preparing for the CPAT as opposed to preparing for an academy?
I would just, like we were talked about already, is kind of, I mean, there's YouTube. There's you can go on YouTube and look at workouts, search what different types of workouts. I'm constantly on there looking for different workouts for me and what I'm going to be teaching in the academy. There's CrossFit workouts. There's weight training. There's, I mean, swim. I want to incorporate swimming for me because, you know, I had a bad experience with it one time, but a lot of people know about it. But I just go and do your research. CPAT's a good blueprint, like we were talking about, like what is expected. And if you're struggling or weak in one area, there's workouts to increase or to get better.
And I think knowing your limits, because academies are long days and you'd be throwing ladders for hours or pulling hose for hours, knowing your own physical limits, that's why you train and go push your body to the next level, so you know, okay, I'm obviously dehydrated, or I need to eat something, I'm not feeling right, so you can last. It's all about endurance. And it's a mental game too, so mentally prepare yourself for a very...
Know what your body can be able to push and handle.
Yeah.
This is the one thing.
You have to be really honest, you know, especially in the academy as a candidate. We already invested in you to be in our academy. So we want you to pass with every, you know, score that you have. So we want you to be part of our team. We want you to do well. So if you are tired, you have to say, I'm tired, but I can move on, versus I'm tired and I don't want to move on. Mm-hmm. Those are two very different attitudes that we can work with one and we can't work with another. So you have to be honest with your academy liaison, your academy coordinator, your classmates. Your classmates are the first ones that you say, hey, you know what, I need help. And you know, as a fire department, that's all we do is we ask for help. We have a structure fire. It's like we don't just send one engine in with one hose line to say, hey, okay, take care of that fire. We send another one, and we send another one. So it's all about helping each other.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to take one final question. Mitch?
All right, thanks. So this is our last question for the day. And so this job seems stressful. How do you balance things like family, work, dating, other commitments?
That was a good one.
That's very good question.
That's a loaded question.
How much time do we have?
Yeah.
So I think.
What is your name?
With Milton was saying, like, when you're going through the academy, you're going through the 18-month probation and having those hard discussions early on. We're going to be not only just working our regular days, we can be mandated to work more days. And having those conversations and having those hard talks is important. And on top of those long days, we see a lot of things that we would not a normal person would see on a consistent basis. So a lot of us, at least 3 of us, are on the peer support team. Then one of the big things we're trying to push is kind of just looking out for each other is essential, is a way of like, if that Dana goes on a call and it's a pediatric call and the result is bad or it's terrible, let's reach out to Dana. Let's have a group discussion or one-on-one discussion. Want to make sure we check up on each other because peer support and it's a real thing, and not just for the Mountain View Fire Department. Every department is going through the same process as having some kind of peer support. And it's a stressful job. It's a stressful job for yourself physically. I mean, like I was telling everyone, I sleep. My sleep is terrible. So imagine like you go in, you're sleeping at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, and you have the lights shining at you, and you have this voice telling you need to get up, and then you have to I'm wiping my eyes because I'm the driver. Where do I need to go? And then when we get there, we're taking care of patients, as the paramedic, and then happen to repeat that over and over and over again. This guy, 20 years, 12 years, doesn't matter how many years. It's hard on your body, in your mind.
Mm-hmm. I think choosing healthy outlets is vital and starting that very early on in your career and not finding out when it's too late or having to deal with it a lot later in life, and surrounding yourself with good people. I think, like you guys were talking about, to lean on your family or your spouse. I think you're going to ask a lot of them. This career will ask a lot of you, so you need to prepare them as much as you need to prepare yourself. But picking healthy outlets will just, honestly, it'll save your life.
And knowing your kids didn't sign up for this, or your wife didn't sign up for you to be gone for a month on a strike team and have 3 kids at home alone, it's very stressful. Life is stressful in general, right? Having a family and trying to do things. And I think we're really lucky that we are a big family and we do lean on each other. And Mountain View is pretty special because they give us EAP, which is an assistance program to help you find a counselor. And it's crucial to have the resources available to you and not to wait till you already need help. And I feel like a lot of us learn that the hard way because it's stigmatized. You don't talk about mental health in the fire service. And when I first started, I feel like we've grown leaps and bounds, in the 14 years that I've been doing it. And it's incredible to see that change because it affects every single one of us in different aspects of our career, and it will. If you think it won't, it will. And if you think you don't have PTSD, you might already have PTSD, and you just don't even recognize it because you're not educated about it. And part of our job is almost being psychologists. You go on these calls, and they're not anybody's good day. They call you on a bad day, and they're in a most stressful situation. And you take care of one patient, and then you have their entire family to take care of after. They just saw their dad go down on Thanksgiving and have a heart attack, and you're there to support your community and take care of your crew next, right? So after we leave the call, you check in with everybody, and that's the support, that's the family part,
We take care of each other as well. If we have people that live far away, and sometimes they get mandatory the next day for a partial or like 5 hours, is generally that somebody close and say, you know what, stay home with your family. I'm going to take the 5 hours for you so you don't have to drive in to work those hours. So we try to take care of each other in every aspect of like taking care of the family or taking care of, you know, go home to your family, you know, because you haven't seen them in a while. One of my old battalion chiefs, he's sitting there and we're eating dinner and he goes, oh shoot, it's my anniversary. And he goes, but my wife's in trouble because she didn't know it was their anniversary as well. So you sort of forget sometimes, like when you're in the firehouse, it's a family, but yet, you know, your family has a family or has a life without you too. So when I come home, it's like a whirlwind. They have to get used to dad being home and going like, who are you? You know, why are you? Exactly.
You don't live here, stop making rules.
So, you know, it is an adjustment for everybody. It is a stressful job, but it pays in dividends back to you because it is the fulfilling job in the world. You know, we don't say it's the best job in the world just because it really is.
Yeah,
so.
And we sacrifice a lot, but our families sacrifice so much more. And I like to think like when we get to the point of retirement, they get us back, and it's a cool thing to be supported through a career by your family and then get those extra years with them.
And then they have to take care of us.
All right, we have made it to Words of Wisdom. I feel like I personally have learned so much from each of you. I'm sure that the audience has as well. Shannon, I thought we could start out with you for Words of Wisdom and work our way down the line.
Yeah, if this is a career that you think that you want to start or check out, like we've all said, just show up at a fire station and find out. Don't stop trying. This took all of us years to get here, and we wouldn't have been here if we had stopped trying. So just every day, keep going out and try to keep getting the job because it is absolutely worth it. I love this job. I love my department. Yeah, just persistence.
Okay.
I'd say if I were to talk to myself as, you know, me, the older self, to my younger self as a senior, I wouldn't change anything. And essentially, what I mean by that is be persistent, ask questions, don't give up, and just if you have a passion for something, don't let anyone stop you. Just keep going. Like Milton was saying, you know, when you have an interview coming up, knock on the door. It could be any fire department. It could be, especially us. Knock on the door, get that advice, and then if you go to your first interview and you don't make it, it's okay. Go to a different one, and then another one, and another one. I always use the acronym. I might be to high school kids. I use the word FAIL, first attempt at learning. So if you use that, and with anything, not just with the fire department, with life, you're gonna go far.
My best advice would be a master of your craft. Stay passionate, stay hungry for knowledge, and know your limits and keep pushing yourself so that you can take care of yourself. And I'm horrible at this, so learn how to ask for help. If you need help, learn how to ask for help.
I think for me, last word advice is be yourself. Everybody has a different story when it comes to becoming a firefighter. Not everybody has the same path. You know, some people went to get an AS degree while other people went to paramedic school. So every job that you had adds value to who you are of becoming a firefighter. You know, if you worked retail for McDonald's or anywhere, that adds value to who you are. So don't downplay anything you've ever done in life, because it just makes you a better firefighter.
All right, beautifully stated. Left and right, up and down, across the board. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, of course. All right, so we have made it to the time for special announcements. I promised one at the very beginning. This is me delivering. All right, so Cal-JAC offers free EMT academies, and so with that, we want you to know we'll be launching 2 this year. That's right, this year, so go ahead, make sure that you learn more information. If you're looking for more information, we want you to know that this academy is an opportunity for those that can't afford to just write a check to do an EMT academy, to do an EMT program, but you really, really need one to progress in your career. And so this is a free academy that we offer. One will be offered in Sacramento, another one down in San Diego. And so keep an eye out on the website for additional information that's coming. But February 1st, make sure you join us at 11 a.m. We will be hosting a virtual live information session. And so this is occurring on Instagram, on TikTok. You're there anyway, just join us for the live. And so make sure that you learn all the information, how to apply, deadlines, and any of the information that's available at that time. So again, caljacacademy.org is the website for that. In addition to that, we want you to know you're already here on YouTube. We're also on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, we're on X. And so use the handle @BecomingAFF. And we want you to check out our other content. We are in the process of uploading a series we did about student athletes. Maybe you were a student athlete, you want to become an industrial athlete, and so shout out to Mountain View, not mine. But you were a student athlete, and so you want to make that transition, hear from firefighters that were athletes, and lots of them were. And so we want you to hear those personal stories. Also, if you come from a very underrepresented group within the fire service, like Black women, we sat down and we had a beautiful conversation with Black women that are firefighters. And so we want you to hear their journey as well. And so lots of content lives on the platform. Please go ahead and check out all of it. Make sure you subscribe while you're there as well, please and thank you. And so lastly, this is just a huge thank you again to Mountain View, to each of you for being here today. Myself personally, throughout the interview, you talked about growing. I was like, how have I grown in this interview? How can I? Normally, I depend a lot on my notes. And so you all are one of the first departments to help me come off of the page and really just engage. And I personally want to thank you for that.
Wow,
thank you.
What a compliment.
Thank you.
Yeah. Everyone else has had an excellent interview. I mean that. I've had fun. This is just different. This is just different. Oh, man. And so thank you for being here, for sticking around until the very, very end. We'll see you next time. Peace out, everyone.